The tools you're going to need for this job is going to be a 19mm socket, 17mm socket, a 14mm socket, a good hammer, a die grinder or a wire brush, and then a torque wrench. You're going to need some brake caliper lubricant or Silk Glide or some other type of slide pin lubricant. First thing we're going to do is turn the wheel all the way to the left. It'll make it easier to remove the bolts, just easier access. So you're going to take your 14mm, remove those 2 bolts that hold the caliper on. Then, as soon as I get back in the frame here, you're going to grab your C-clamp and you're going to squeeze the caliper back. Squeeze it as far back as you can, and if it squeezes back easy, then your caliper's good. If it doesn't squeeze back easy, you might have a problem. You probably want to consider replacing the caliper. So go ahead and move it into a place that is where it's not going to fall, and you're not putting pressure on the brake hose. Then grab your 17mm and your impact and remove the 2 caliper bracket bolts that are holding the bracket on. Then go ahead and take your bracket off. There's the bolts. Then, as soon as I walk back over, I'm going to grab my hammer there and knock the rotor off. We're just going to wait around here and hope that I show back up at some point. Oh. There we are, and we're back. Give it a few good whacks. Try not to hit the studs there. And go ahead and discard the rotor and throw your brake caliper bracket in the vise and clean it up as best you can. I personally like to use the die grinder. That gets all the crud off without taking too much material away from the bracket. And as you can see, I took the slide pins out, cleaned all the old grease off of those, and put some fresh grease on there. Then you're going to want to take the die grinder, if you have it, and clean up the hub surface. You just want to do this so you don't have any lateral runout when you install the new rotor, because if there's a bunch of rust and crud and all sorts of goodness behind that, you might have some good old-fashioned pulsating brakes. So we don't want that. So then you're going to throw your new rotor on, throw the bolts back in to the bracket with the new hardware, tighten those down real good, and eventually we're going to throw the new pads in. If the pads have a wear indicator on them, there'll be like this metal clip that's on it. If they do even have those, you want to make sure that that one goes on the inside of the bracket and then the other one goes on the outside. Then if your caliper's squeezed all the way back, you can put the caliper back on, put the bolts in, and then throw your wheel on, and we're just about ready to torque the wheels, and then you'll be ready for some action. Do the same thing to the other side. The procedure is pretty much exactly the same. Then torque your wheels. Don't want the wheels to fall off. And then the last step you're going to do is check the brake fluid. And if it's full, then you're good.